So my name is Amy Schmidt, and I'm the Executive Director and Outreach Coordinator for Vecinos Farm Worker Health Program. The Outreach Coordinator position is the funded position by the North Carolina Farm Worker Health Program, which is who provides our biggest grant. And then the Executive Director responsibilities come along with that. So the original director, the founding director, was a nurse here at the health department, and she started the organization in 2004. I started in 2012 as outreach worker, and then in 2014 I became the executive director. And when I started, it was just myself as outreach worker and Nathan as executive director. And we also always have one 6-month fellowship position. So there were 2 full-time people and one 6-month full-time person. But now we have 3 full-time employees, and we are getting ready to hire a 4th. And then we still have that 6-month fellowship position each year. And then every semester we have various interns from different departments and majors. So that depends how many interns that we have.
My name is Carla Mendoza, and I am an outreach worker for Vecinos Farm Worker Health Program. I actually just started out as a fellow. I was doing a fellowship here for another organization, which is called SAF, which is Student Action for Farm Workers. The original plan was a 6-month fellowship, and then after that I was going to go to school again. But Vecinos had a full-time position open up, and I've stayed there since then. So, as an outreach worker, you wear a lot of different hats. So, along with outreach worker / case manager, what I do for patients is we usually either interpret, do transportation, do a lot of case management, so trying to find resources in the community to kind of link them together to, if we don't have the services available for them, we try to make those connections so we can have the patients connect to those resources as well.
So our primary program is the mobile clinic. So we are a health program, and we operate a mobile clinic 6 months out of the year from May until November, because that's when most of the workers are here. So we have a Ford Econoline full-size van with a pop-up roof, and that actually is our clinic. And we drive that van to different migrant labor camps all over Jackson, Macon, Swain, Haywood, Transylvania, and Clay counties. And we go where the workers are. So we make phone calls, we drive out and find them and find out when they're arriving and how many are going to be at each place, and then we take the mobile clinic and we set up. We take outreach workers who do health intakes and health education. We take registered nurses who do point-of-care lab testing, finger stick, they get blood drops and do labs with those. And then we take nurse practitioners or PAs, usually one each night, and that person will see patients in the mobile unit and do physical exams and consultations. And then she can diagnose, prescribe, treat, and make a plan for that patient.
Along with just general interpretation, transportation services, and of course our medical services that we provide, everything is free for our patients. So we also provide free medication and food. So we have a little small food pantry in the Cullowhee Methodist Church, which is actually right, I want to say it's like in the center of the Western campus across the street. And food services, we have a food pantry there, and we stock it up with manna, from manna every week. And we do food deliveries to the homes of the patients. So we set up boxes and try to get the healthiest stuff that we can, and then just go out, usually in the evenings on Thursdays, and do the food deliveries at their homes as well. So a really general box would look like maybe 2 packs of meat. So it depends on what kind of meat we can get, either pork or some kind of lean meat, chicken, turkey, ground turkey, something like that. Bread, we always have bread. And produce. So produce just varies on the season. What is at Manna, and the good thing about Manna is that the produce is always free. So we can take as much as we want, and it's always free. Milk and eggs, sometimes if we get lucky. So that's always a plus if it's in the box. Some cereals, canned goods. And we do have some other churches around the area that actually donate bags of rice and beans. So we put at least one bag has one bag of rice and one bag of beans inside each of the boxes, and trying to think of other yogurt, fruits and veggies, of course, canned goods. Yeah, that's usually what a good looking box would look for a family.
Well, farm workers have always been one of the most vulnerable populations in our country, and especially the migrants. So they are often traveling back and forth from Mexico with a visa. It's called an H-2A visa, and this is a program that was created by the government. It's called a guest worker program. So they apply for the visas in Mexico. They get placed at a farm here. The farmer applies also to the program and says, you know, he needs 200 workers from June until September, and then the workers apply for the visas in Mexico and they get placed at a farm here. The reason we serve them is because they don't always have access to basic resources and proper care, and it's really difficult for them to access these resources in every place that they go. So we try to make sure that they have a safe and comfortable place here when they're passing through North Carolina, with bilingual people who understand their situation and where they're coming from. And so we show up at the farms where they live, and or at the camps where they live, and try to provide them the best care for them where they are.
For the most part, the conditions they're okay. They're not the best in the world. Mm-hmm. Of course, agriculture is one of the most dangerous fields that you can work in, mainly because they're out in the sun all day. In some other areas in North Carolina that we know of, they don't get breaks, they don't get water, and they don't get shade, or we've heard of some cases that there is some kind of human trafficking going on in this work area. Unfortunately, we heard of another case. I don't know all the details, but there was a case where there were several farm workers working in, I want to say, tomatoes as well, and they were actually held hostage by the person that was in charge of the crew. So they usually have crews, and then there's like a crew leader. So the crew leader was actually keeping them hostage and not letting them go out to do their groceries and just do everything that they need to do. They always had to ask that one person to, hey, can you take me here? And sometimes they're just like, I don't feel like taking me. You have to suck it up. So one of the other important things that we do for our workers is, for all of our patients that we go out and visit, either seasonal, migrant, H-2A, we do health education with them. So we cover a lot of topics from pesticide exposure, how to protect yourself from pesticides, nutrition, just really basic nutrition, how they can change their habits, some small tips that they can just do to change their eating habits and maybe lead a healthier lifestyle, STDs, HIV, and of course sun exposure, or just preventing them from having any kind of heat stroke.
These are the hygiene kits we usually give out to the people that sign up with our program. Mm-hmm. Usually with the migrant workers. They're usually the ones that come from either Mexico, contracted through the H-2A program, or they come from different states as migrant workers. So the hygiene kit consists of vitamins, 2 pairs of socks, some toothbrushes, some soap, some floss, some toothpaste, and athlete's foot. And they're given out twice for each patient, the first visit and the second visit. So yeah, 2 hygiene kits per worker.
So before I started this job, I was doing a lot of traveling, and I had been living abroad and teaching English, and I had been managing a bar, and I really liked those jobs, and I did some really interesting things. And when I started this job, I was excited, and I thought it would be really interesting, and I wanted to use my Spanish, but I didn't realize how important it would become to me. And I didn't know much about farm worker issues before I started this job, and most people don't. And it's not anyone's fault. It's not like we're doing something wrong by not knowing that farm worker issues exist, or that farm workers often lack basic resources or don't have as many worker rights as other people. because it's just a bit of a hidden industry. Not many people even realize how many farm workers there are in our country, which crops are picked by hand, and how difficult the work is. And it's just a product of the disconnect that happens in our system. So we can go to the grocery store and we can pick up some food and never think about where it came from. We can easily do that if we choose to, if we never become educated. And so one thing I've learned from this is just to really question not just where food comes from, but everything that I buy and choose is connected to someone else that's created it, or that's grown it, or that's picked it. And so even though what we focus on is farm worker health, and that's a piece of that, to me it's connected to this much bigger issue of where are our goods and services coming from, and who's affected by that. And so now when I go grocery shopping, I can't even pick out a piece of fruit or vegetable without wondering, is this a patient or is this a worker that I know that picked this? Did they pass through North Carolina last year or 5 years ago, and now they're in Florida, and this strawberry or this tomato got shipped from there? Maybe I've shaken the hand of the person that's picked this tomato. So it's, for me, connected to a much larger issue, and I think that's really important, and it's something that's really affected and impacted my life, as well as the individual connections that I've built. So every year we have 700 patients that pass through North Carolina, and every year there's more than one story of a family or a patient or a person that's really inspiring or really sad or just really intense. And so each year these things kind of build up, and there's this human piece to it. You know, it's not just our food system, and it's not just our healthcare system. For me, it's like this very big human connection that a lot of us are missing out when we go to the grocery store. And so that's why it's become really important to me. I feel like as humans we're all connected, but also all these issues that we face in our world or in our country are all connected as well. You can't really think about farm worker issues without thinking about agriculture or environmental issues or our economy or GMOs or unequal wealth distribution in our country. They're all so connected. So for me, that's been a big part of it, is understanding that bigger connection of people in our country, and also the issues that we all face, because we're all humans.